So what we're going to focus on is really what I see as this tremendous opportunity to build businesses on Ethereum utilizing Lido's stVaults. And I think stVaults are really unique in this. So the staking market has changed significantly over the last 2 years. Where before, a one-size-fits-most solution like Lido Core really served the needs of most users that needed staking, things have changed. Whether it is the maturation of the industry, whether it's the increased competition, it's become very, very clear that one of the ways to differentiate now is via customization. And what I think is quite interesting about this is like customization of validator infrastructure, there's fairly limited things you can do. But one of the most powerful ways you can probably do this is via liquidity. Liquidity, whether you are building a business or a product for small DeFi users, or whether you're going after the biggest institutions, is what will make or break products. And we're already seeing this today with some of the events of the last few weeks. I think from a node operator perspective, for example, that the products that most node operators today are offering to institutionals and DATs is completely incompatible with the future of institutional staking. I can't imagine going to an institution and basically pitching, hey, you can lock up your ETH, stake it, the price may go up, huge ups and downs. Right now, it's, I think, even a tougher sell. You're going to earn something like a 3% APR. And by the way, if you want to withdraw your principal, you have to wait 37 days. So you'll see what happens on the other side. The good news is Lido's stVaults can solve this for you. And I think that you're going to see a lot of unlock with what this means, both from an institutional perspective, but also for more general products. Because if you think about it, what Lido V3 does is it takes all of the great work from a truly diverse set of contributors, both directly with the DAO and the broader ecosystem. It packages that all up, it puts a bow on it, and says, hey, you as a builder now have access to these things. You as a builder have access to all of the network effects of the Lido protocol, the most liquid LST on the market, and a product that has incredibly deep integrations, both on the DeFi side and on the institutional side. And so we're going to unpack that a little bit. So first, in terms of liquidity, I had to show the year chart here. There's ups and downs. You can follow that with ETH price. But the numbers I'll talk about are really the moving averages across this year. And so from a trading volume perspective, you can see that Lido's stETH compared to the two other LST competitors in terms of daily market trading volume is basically a completely different league of its own, right? There's $150 million of average daily trading volume. That's compared to numbers that almost don't even register at the bottom. In terms of collateral, there's $10 billion that has been used as an average of collateral on a daily basis within the Lido and broader DeFi ecosystem in 2025. And there's over $75 million of order book depth within 2%. These are very, very important numbers, both from an institutional side, who need to get out of positions quickly, who need to be able to move on, and also from a DeFi side, where if you're building products, you need to be able to rely on the ability for stETH to exist and for someone else to want that stETH in the future. From the integration side, you could probably find Marin and Yakov somewhere in this venue and basically hear war stories about the really deep multi-party collaboration it's taken to get a list of logos like this on the screen. And like, I would be really wrong to not say that there's dozens and dozens more on the DeFi side and on the institutional side. Whether you're building a DeFi product that is serving like very simple kind of borrow, lend, leverage staking, or whether you want to work with the largest institutions around the world, stETH is probably integrated at this point. And this is the thing. If you're a builder, you should not have to be focused on networking and coming up with deals and figuring out how to integrate into all of these different platforms. When you build with stVaults, a lot of that legwork is already done for you. And from the institutional side, we have custodian support from the largest custodians in the US, in Europe, in Asia, and there's much more to come. And I think that's something that's going to be really cool in 2026 as these custodian integrations deepen and you have much more native experiences working with clients via stVaults. So I would probably be helpful for many of you to actually understand what stVaults are. Basically, these are new mechanisms that are bringing custom staking vaults that allow for node operators, DeFi builders, and asset managers to offer staking products with optional liquidity via stETH. These allow for users to have control and liquidity over their custom staking setups. They're non-custodial and permissionless to deploy. And unlike Lido Core, when you stake with an stVault, you can specifically choose the node operator you want to work with. So not only does this bring delegated staking to Lido, but it also opens up a large number of use cases. When you stake with an stVault as a user, your ETH is staked with validators from that node operator that you chose, and it starts to earn rewards. And at that point, you then have the option to mint stETH against it, that locked collateral position, which is the ETH in the validators that continues to earn rewards even as it's minted. You can take that stETH, you can use it in DeFi, you can use it for liquidity needs, close the position, and it really means that as a user, you have much more optionality versus just being stuck in a validator earning rewards with a very long exit queue before you can actually redeem your principal. I also think what's really exciting is that stVaults can start to act as the core reward layer for DeFi products. You can imagine that there will be many products that both utilize the staking reward component, but also all the additional rewards you can generate in DeFi. So I think this chart is kind of helpful, and it's also important to note that Lido Core, which is this section on top, which was formerly known as Lido V2, will continue to work exactly the same way that it has traditionally. As a staker, if you bring 100 ETH to Lido, you will mint 100 stETH, stake with the big blue button, and that ETH will be distributed across the various staking modules and the different node operators within those modules. But for stVaults, I think it helps to use an example. So imagine I am someone that is going to launch an ETF, and we have a whole research team. We've done due diligence on a number of node operators, and we've decided, all right, we want to work with them as our verified counterparty. We're going to sign a contract with that node operator. The fund starts to receive inflows, seed capital, what have you. They decide to stake the ETH within the vault. The validators in the vault start to earn rewards, and that's great. But the problem that you then run into is, okay, a few days later, there's a redemption request. What do? Traditionally, with staked ETPs and ETFs that exist around the world right now, they're only about 40% staked on average. And that's because you need to be able to get liquidity within a very short time frame. You could take a line of credit and basically have a relationship with a bank ongoing. You could potentially use cash on hand, but that's not scalable and it's not cost effective. stVault solves this problem. Instead of having to use cash on hand or these other options, you just mint stETH against part of the locked collateral position within the vault. You can swap that on the secondary market, or you could work with a market maker who is willing to take that position, and then you can fulfill the redemption request to your users. By the way, your vault may actually be earning a higher rewards rate than the borrow rate, which is based off of the Lido Core APR, because Lido Core subsidizes decentralization for Ethereum. It's very, very possible to outperform that APR if you're optimizing your vault to do so. And so you could even start to pay down the balance of that, and then like a few weeks later, you have inflows, fully close the position. What this all leads to is a much more efficient process. stVaults initially were really designed with institutions in mind. You have this whole non-custodial setup that can meet an institution's compliance and asset segregation requirements. You have full customizability over the infrastructure because you work with node operators that can run in the specific geo you want, using the specific client software. They could have MEV policies that fit your needs. You could have insurance policies through them, etc. And the really cool thing too from a node operator or vault owner perspective is there's much more flexibility around fees. So you can continue to control that customer relationship. But stVaults aren't only for institutions. And we will see a lot of interest from node operators that want to target institutions. But on top of that, there's a huge number of DeFi use cases. So I'm going to tease this a little bit because it will be discussed later by Nikita and Yuri. But DeFi Wrapper is a product that will launch alongside stVaults that make it really easy to deploy end-user products. Some of the things this will include are features like pooling. So you can have multiple stakers deposit within the same vault. You can have white label embeddable UIs, and even custom ERC20 vault tokens. What that means is that you can build an experience for your user that is completely branded by your own company. You can build an experience where they don't even know that they're using Lido on the back end. And very, very importantly, and very differently from how Lido has worked in the past, you control that entire customer relationship. You set the economics, you set the fees, and it's a really, really good value prop. I think that the other really interesting thing is maybe you're not a strategist and maybe you're not even a node operator, but you're interested in sort of starting a product and building a business. You can work with many of the many node operators that are part of the Lido set or any other node operator in general to launch this and differentiate yourself by incorporating different strategies to boost the rewards rate. And we make that really easy by having the incorporation of extra reward strategies from Lido Earn. So like the GGV Vault, which is curated by Mello, or the by Veda, or the Strategy Vault that's curated by Mello, where you can really just plug and play and have a very differentiated product. I think this ease of use and really like simple way to deploy to end user products is pretty differentiated. So I want to talk about a few of the different node operators that have announced the ways they're going to use stVaults. We're going to hear from Linea after this. And this is like also an example of a very differentiated use case. The interesting thing here is that a lot of these, I'll talk about 3 node operators, you'll see very similar use cases. And it very much is aligned with kind of what I think this product is. I think it's table stakes. I think that users and node operators are going to have a very basic offering that basically every node operator should have. But on top of that, we're going to see many more differentiated products. There's quite a few that are in the works, but we'll start with these first. So in terms of P2P, they're starting with 2 different complementary strategies. The first is dedicated stVaults, and these are something you'll see a lot of. These are conservative offerings for institutionals, for DAOs, for family offices that are seeking direct staking exposure. And stVaults are a perfect fit here because it makes use of the segregated funds, the ability to segregate funds from other clients. You can have very transparent and auditable flows of capital, and really just the ability to customize these implementations for a given user. Next is on the DeFi Vault side. And so here, this will be a higher yield strategy that works with curators like Mello and differentiates by using like borrow lend or lending protocols to boost APR for users. Next is Solstice. And so they've also announced 2 strategies, the first of which is a little bit different. So this is Yield Vault, which is going to be a delta neutral strategy that leverages stVaults and tied to the USX stablecoins ecosystem. And so this is something that they have in Solana, where they're able to actually include funds and include yield from this Ethereum-based product into the stablecoin ecosystem. I think there's like many use cases like this that we're going to see with stVaults in the next 6, 8, 12 months, and this is a great early example. In addition to that, Solstice is also launching an institutional product, right? They'll have isolated staking vaults that enable this clear asset separation and alignment with those different compliance requirements. And liquidity here is key. They're also working with a number of other Swiss banking partners to figure out what other custom solutions they can deploy within that financial ecosystem. Finally, Chorus One. And again, the first product they're launching is this vanilla strategy tailored for institutions, right? They have users that want a very straightforward staking experience and that are seeking reliable yield. And they really needed an infrastructure that was risk aware, that provided full autonomy for end-to-end management, and importantly, differentiate again with that liquidity component. The second is a loop staking strategy. So they'll boost rewards and compound by redeploying the staked ETH into borrow lend protocols to boost APR. Again, these are similar examples, but that's kind of my point. These are table stakes. I think every node operator in this room should basically start offering these products. You can't do it by just having your own product outside of a liquid staking token ecosystem because you don't have liquidity. And so I think you'll start to see really, really cool use cases emerge on top of these. But my expectation is that when I'm back here at Lido Day in a year, there will be many node operators that are kind of coming up and saying like, hey, we have 50 million in this vault, we have 25 million in this vault, or 5 million in this vault. I think you're going to see really, really wacky use cases that appear. This is just also a small subset of the logos that have already announced the way they're going to deploy on stVaults. There's about 37 that were part of the Mello pre-launch program. There's a number that have started the identification process in the Lido Research Forum that aren't listed here. My main point is, what are you waiting for, right? I think that stVaults enable you to do something very, very differentiated. They allow you to create customized products and give liquidity to your customers. This is something you should do with the best-in-class LST, which is stETH. Whether you're targeting general DeFi users, institutional customers, or you want to create something more advanced, I really believe there's a use case for you. And I want to stress this again. stETH has deep, deep network effects. The more people that use stETH, the more these network effects increase. I think that stVaults are just going to deepen these things so that there's more liquidity, more integrations, and more potential to build businesses. I really, really hope to discuss with more of you. I hope you enjoyed the rest of these presentations to learn how you can get started with stVaults, and very optimistic to see many of you grow your businesses using them. So thanks a lot.